Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ginge and Pedro
Hello.
Show.
How
I'm
are
the
you
worst.
doing, guys?
Yes, Mr. Ginge Gingerton, alongside me, P Money Ang, back in the
Yeah,
studio. What's up, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just
Okay, painless.
yeah.
You're a Ronin guitar player now with your axe.
Yeah. Actually, well, I have two more bands, but this band was really like near and dear to me, and that happened like this morning. So yeah,
Okay, we're
but
sort of
everything's good.
reveling in the post mortem of
Mhm.
Pedro's hopes and dreams, crushed and shattered. Sorry, buddy.
No, dude,
It's tough.
this band has been around for 14 years, man. Like it's
Damn, brother.
a lot of history. There was a lot of fun. I was playing there
Yeah.
with my brother, but they all got lazy, and I lost it. I lost my temper basically. So
Is
yeah,
this the
I
metal
kind of
band?
yeah. That's the
Right.
one.
Okay. I think I've seen a couple clips from
Mhm.
that. Not your
Yeah.
reggae or not your punk band. The other one.
No, the
That
punk
looks like
band.
it's novelist.
It's still moving. But I mean, the band where I composed music was is gone. So
I see. Alrighty. Well,
mhm. Yeah.
maybe that's an interesting topic,
Enough
and
of that.
it is. Well, it is actually interesting because our guest today has
Mhm.
sort of a musical related book. So maybe
Cool.
this was all meant to be. Sadly, buddy. So I don't
Yeah.
know. But without further ado, we will
Yep.
go ahead and buster on out.
Mhm.
Writer CJ Johnson, everybody. Boom.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello.
So
All right. Thanks for
Yep,
joining
it-
us, and thanks for bearing through our shenanigans at the start of the
yeah.
show.
You made it so difficult.
Yeah. I'm grieving. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it would be hard, buddy. You lost some 14 years of your life. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you know,
It was like a
that's a lot.
marriage. It was like a
Yeah.
marriage, and it feels like divorce.
Oh, well, now you can write a story about it and not feel bad or something, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't really work that way. I just like bury myself in work until I feel better. That's normally what I do. But enough about me. Let's focus on the guest. Let's do it.
I'm really not that interesting.
Oh, come on.
Well, if you'd like, if you want to just start it, were you always a writer? Growing up, was it something you always wanted to do, or could you tell us a little bit about young CJ growing up?
Sure. Yes. So I actually really always loved to write and to read. I think, that was the first time you fall in love with like a book. So,
Mm.
and I just wanted to become a writer. And
Yeah.
I will say I like all the artistic stuff on the comic
Mm.
side. I think that's a relatively like new, like I really wish I could draw as nicely as some of you guys do.
Mm.
So
Right. Oh yeah.
Okay, but CJ, which book would you say not like got you into reading, but got you into writing? Like I'm really interested in what like you read something, so it's like I can do this. Do you remember that? Remember that moment? Which book did that for you?
I don't know if I can name it with just one, but I know
Mhm.
like my like the book that probably has the highest attachment to my heart and the youngest attachment to my heart is probably Mere Christianity. I
Mm.
know it's a nonfiction book, but it was the first time I could hear the author's voice in my head, and I really
Mm.
liked that feeling.
Nice.
It was kind of funny too because I found out later that he was British, and I was reading him with an American accent, and it's like you can't do that. So
Mm.
it
Why
was
not?
some other voice in my head.
Yeah.
All the
So,
voices in our head. But no,
yeah.
it's interesting. For writers, I guess maybe for artists, just in general, like for me,
Mhm.
it wasn't exactly a book, although I did grow up reading and loving books. But for me, it
Mhm.
was the movie The Grudge. I remember
Okay.
watching it I loved it, saw it in theaters, got it on DVD, and I just remember I watched a bunch of commentary on all my DVDs, like just the commentary tracks. That
Mhm.
one was really, really interesting. They had a bunch of different tracks, like a bunch of creatives on it, and I was like, just so in love with it all. I was like, I want to write this. So
Mm.
for me, it was
Oh wait, that's yeah. It's like you just you want something and you want something only it's yours. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
I don't know. Like mine was. It's weird. It was very difficult, but it's just like the complexity really taught me. Like it's not like I could do this. It's like I cannot do this, but I want to do something like this, and it was Dune. And I read Dune when I was like 17 or whatever, and just like the immersion on the ecology, the religion, the
Mhm.
politics of it all, is just like, dude, this feels like a real world. I should do this, but it's like, no, I cannot do Dune. I never tried, but
Like this. What's up,
hey,
brother?
what's up, Big This? So it's
Yes. Here we are.
it's like I'm always interested in see like what really sets up the spark, because dude, like we create worlds, and it's something that a lot of people admire. Some people look at us like we're nuts. Like, what are you doing? What? But you do that spark of creativity, like whether it be comics, whether it be books, whether it be painting, whether it be movies. It's something that it's not necessarily for like subsistence, like you need food, water, and shelter. But once you cover all that, then what do you do? Like, what defines us as a human? And I think that's where lit culture comes in. Painting,
Yeah.
reading, and that's something
Sure.
that defines us as humans. So I'm always interested in knowing how uh, people get into that journey. So your when I mean, I don't know.
Well, I will say, like, my family all likes to talk a lot, and I was the
Okay.
quiet one. And when you
Oh,
have
wow.
something to say and you're the quiet one, you never get to talk. And when you finally get to talk, you don't know what to say.
Yeah, I gotcha. So when you started writing, you started writing like short stories, novellas. You went directly into like long form prose. Like what was your first like how you dipped your toes into the writing arena?
Well, I will say, like, I started with informational writing a lot. Like, I would
Mm-hmm.
write longer journal entries or like just experiential sort of this is my day sort of stories.
Mm-hmm.
I started quite young though. Like my I ran into my fifth grade teacher. Her name was actually Mrs. Johnson too, which I thought was funny.
Nice.
And I told her, "Oh yeah, I'm a writer now." So she gave me my first set of fantasy novels when I was a
Oh,
kid.
nice.
So it was the Tamora Pierce's The Song of the Lioness Quartet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I still have most of those books.
Oh, very cool.
So I actually did try to reread them recently, and I'm like, oh, I can tell I've like advanced on some level because I would do it differently.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's always nice to go back on books you've read before because you always catch new things, and I don't want to call them mistakes because that sounds a little bit like considered like, oh, well, you screwed up here. But it's something like that. Like I wouldn't have done it that way.
Right.
But you need
Being able to
experience
notice the stylistic differences.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
you need to know how to do that.
Yeah, like I mean, it's the same thing with like a lot of my friends really like movies, and I think you can tell at some point where like the studio came in and said change this, and they'll say you can tell because of the edits and the lighting and the AVR and
and even like in tones and what I mean by tones is like this character shouldn't have done this. Like you notice that sometimes when like the studio comes in and just like, hey, like that's too violent or this is not the message we want to convey, and then they change something and you go like, that's not Riddick anymore.
Right.
Like I don't know, like I noticed that in that movie, like Pitch Black was a completely different tone from the second one, which was more like an epic. It's like no, this has studio all over it. You know what I mean? And,
I don't know. I've heard Vin Diesel actually had a lot of creative direction over that one versus the first one. So maybe it was more that.
Yeah.
Those are a guilty pleasure for me.
Yeah, they're not that good, but I enjoy them.
No, I think everybody has their guilty pleasures for what it's worth.
Hey, there's no guilt in my pleasure. I enjoy what I enjoy.
Nice. Okay, CJ. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just thinking about guilty pleasures the other day because I tried to get my daughter to sit down and watch Pride and Prejudice with me. She's a little too young for it, and I'm like, see, aren't these funny? Because they're trying to get married and the mother's all upset. Don't I sound like her sometimes? And she's like, I don't want to watch this anymore, Mom.
Mom,
this is boring.
I don't know what where you going with this, but I want you to stop. That happens. Like,
didn't they do a Pride and Prejudice zombies movie, or is that just the book?
Yeah, Pride, Prejudice,
they did the movie.
Yeah, they did the movie adaptation.
Oh, did they?
That was weird.
Okay. Must have forgot about that. Okay, so at what point did you sort of set forth on a writerly journey? Was it out of high school, or was there something? Was it in school that you decided this is what I want to do? Or
Pretty much. I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. Anybody watching this from my high school would be like, yeah, we know. I was just very quiet. And when I started talking in 12th grade, because I'd been accepted, I make this joke with my husband all the time, but he waited 2 weeks before the semester began to like get accepted to college where we met. And I'd been accepted, assuming I would graduate for 2 years. So I was like, I'm never going to see any of you ever again. So I got to start talking now. And I think I frightened quite a few people.
like that one girl who's never talking is now talking now. There must be something wrong. She's reaching out.
Well, I think so many, like, I have literally never said anything to any of them for years. So, like, when I was like, hey, you remember in 6th grade when you said this? They were like, what?
Didn't any of them went like, your voice? Wow, that's how you sound like? Wow.
It's like that one Dane Cook skit about the guy that comes and shoots up the office, but he like the one dude that's nice to him gave him a Snickers bar like 2 weeks before the shooting, and he's like, thanks for the Snickers. That guy lived.
Oh man, that went dark, gents. Jeez.
Sorry, buddy. It's all I had in the chamber there. I've been listening to.
No, it's okay. Cook. I have a really dark sense of humor too. So,
So what was your first project? Did you tackle something you had in mind for a while, or did you just get out there and start writing once you got past the informational and sort of journal stuff?
My first published series under my name is my Starlight Chronicles. It's kind of an allegory of the believer's journey, which is I had a professor in high school or college tell me that he couldn't name like a series that walked anybody through the journey from atheism to Christian belief, which I'm a Christian. Sorry,
No, you're good.
Like, you learn 3 things right off the bat about me if you talk to me long enough. It's like I'm married, I'm happily married, I'm a Christian, I go to church a lot, and usually I laugh when I'm nervous. So
understand that.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. You're free to believe whatever you like here on the Ginge and Pedro show.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep. So this was the Starlight Chronicles. Though was like it's a tribute to my atheist friend. We had a lot of interesting discussions about things. And I remember that conversation very vividly too. So if I ever run into him again, he's gonna probably still think I'm really weird.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, dude, people can't believe. Like, I was raised Catholic, and I don't know. I don't practice that much, but I can't say like I'm a non-believer. Like, I'm not an atheist. At least not an atheist anymore. But I'm still not going to Catholic church. It's just I don't get the pageantry, and Panama's too hot to stay in that church for an hour. It's just too hot.
I do think it helps if you find a church that you can get into. So because my family is half Catholic and half Protestant, so I understood historical criticisms of the schism very well. And
or maybe find a church with an AC, and that will solve everything for me. Because it's just Panama's blistering hot, man. We idle at 90, so no.
What state did you grow up in, CJ? Was it up
I'm
north
from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Was that like a I'm from Florida. I grew up in Florida. We don't have a lot of Catholics in my neck of the woods. It's a lot of Baptists. And
I was going to say, if you're in the South, you're usually at a Southern Baptist church now, which I am.
Okay, right. So what was there? Was there any like weirdness between the Catholic and the Protestant? You always like see in like media, sort of those crazy Protestants or whatever. Was it like that, or is that just sort of a myth? Or
it's not a myth.
No? Wow.
It's actually kind of interesting because my family is my family on my dad's side is the Catholic branch, and they're Slovak Catholics.
Oh,
so
Slovak.
In addition to being Catholic, they're very Slovak. And my dad's hometown is actually still largely segregated along the Polish-Slovak line. So when people talk about racism, I always kind of like, do I say something?
Yeah.
So they've been working together better recently, last I heard, actually. So that was nice to hear.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So I just... I do like that part of my heritage a lot, just because like there's like my parents, I think, have a really nice love story in some ways, because he was Catholic and she was Presbyterian, and her family is from Eastern or Western Europe, and my dad's family is from Eastern Europe. So there was a lot of tension and stuff, and it was like I said, it's really nice that they ended up together. So.
Yeah.
So were you born in America, or did they get married and then head over? Or I mean,
Oh yeah, we're American. My grandparents immigrated, or my great grandparents immigrated. So
it was like a low intensity Romeo and Juliet thing going with the.
Yes, where Romeo has a very Catholic mother.
Okay, nice. That's always good.
So, well, it made it worse too, because he's the firstborn, and I think like on some level that's like women are like, this is my heir, this is the person that I'm going to pour the majority of my hopes and dreams onto, and you're ruining them.
The firstborn thing, yeah.
It's hard being the firstborn. I have a younger brother, like 10 years younger, and I will say his life was significantly easier, you know.
On some level, I think that my kids' lives are easier just because of all the technology that's around.
Yeah.
So they have like these really cool like indoor playgrounds, and they're all safe, and they got the bouncy houses. I didn't have that when I was young.
Dude. I don't know. Right. I'm of the policy that kids need to see their own blood at least once every summer, just to build character. You know, just.
We don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, nothing too bad. Maybe a little scratch in the hand, something that's like, hey, you bleed, take care. You know, I mean, I've met some kids that think they're invincible.
Yeah.
Until life lets them know they're not. And it's
yeah.
Not good.
Well, that's true in like other areas too. Like, you know, like we live kind of outside, like just outside of Atlanta, and you know, we can see some farms and stuff as we drive to my parents' house. And it's really cool to be like, hey, this is where corn comes from, and this is where the food from the supermarket comes from.
Oh, cool.
And you know, kind of getting them up and personal with, because like if you forget how like tied you are to nature in those aspects, especially living in more of an urbanized area, it really does cause a lot of dehumanization as a side effect, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Every kid needs an encounter with a mean goat at some point.
A meme goat?
Yeah, the thing is, like, we just got a goat, and dude, I just let him do some of my nephews, and it was funny.
Oh, very nice.
They didn't know, dude. He was just flipping those kids around. I was like, yeah, it was cool. I like that.
Fun. Just tape some pepperoni to their back, I guess, and let them go wild.
Exactly.
I will say that is probably like the biggest, like my greatest like inspiration for like writing is to just try to preserve a lot of what I've experienced and pass it on to my kids.
Yeah, that's good.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, like I think a lot of people have a very limited perspective today when it comes to stuff in general. So, you know.
or secondhand information. Like I saw it on the internet, and it's not the same thing. It's always going to be permeated by people like biases and experiences, and you're not seeing it firsthand. So it's good. So going back to creation, like what got you into comic books now? Because you've been writing for some time, right?
Yeah.
And then you come up with a really, I mean, the art looks awesome, and the story is very, very interesting. Like I liked a lot. Like I heard the brief. So what got you into this story that I'm writing? This should be done into a graphic novel. Like, tell us about that journey.
Well, I warned you guys earlier. I have a terrible sense of humor, and one of my more perverse pleasures is, I guess, going against the political correctness culture.
All right. Cool. Awesome.
Yes. I actually have another superhero series that my friend Spencer is drawing some graphics for. It's called Fat Girl, and it's about that superhero. And I just, you know, if you read it, I mean, that's the first question I ask people. Did you actually read it?
Nice. Okay.
Usually answers no. But no, I have a couple friends who write comics. You know, hats off to my friend John De La Rose. He's really great.
Cool.
And
yeah, we know John here.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, then you can vouch for me too. You know he's
Yeah.
good. And I don't know. Sometimes when you're really good at something, you can make it look easy, you know. And he made it look easy, so I thought I'd try. It wasn't as easy for me, I think.
No, but I mean, don't look at it as what you need. Look at it as how far you've come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, dude, you're doing great right now.
If this is the worst comic I ever produced, I will be happy.
Yeah. I mean, you got 38 backers so far. Like, it might fund, it might not fund. Like, take the learning experiences. I'm not saying it's gonna fail. I'm just saying, like, if you don't fund, just take the learning curve. Okay,
Right.
what I didn't do, maybe I should work more on my internet profile. Just things that you need to tune up. But the book looks awesome, and this deserves to get funded. So
yes, awesome. I will say, for what it's worth, I'm really bad at marketing myself, because it's really hard to market yourself as kind of like an avant-garde, like Rage Against the PC Machine type of person, and you look like me, you know.
Hey, we don't have that problem. Like,
I'm missing that proverbial face tattoo. Like,
no. You don't need any of that. Any of that. The thing is, like, we're all wallflowers, like writers and artists. It's like, I just want to be left alone and work, and we have to get rid of that. We need to become like, you know what? I am king manure. All right. This is me. Check me out. Like, we have to be like that. We have to be loud and bombastic, because that's how people pay attention to you, and that's something we all need to work on. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, for what it's worth, I think this has done a pretty good job, given my, like I said, I'm difficult to market. I don't like to market. I'm very introverted, you know. My friend Jacob complains that I don't show my face on camera on his podcast very often. And it's like, yeah, I know. But yeah, this is my comic Dizchord. It's set in Atlanta. I live near Atlanta, like on the outskirts again. And I've been here for at least 7 years now. So my kids are about that old. And yeah, like I said, I have a really sick sense of humor. So I saw the Miles Morales Thor comic, and I was like, this is not how you brag about a black character.
No, you know? Not really.
So.
And how did you get on the how dare you? You're doing cultural appropriation? Like, you need a black writer to do the black comic? Like, nobody has said that before. I'm the first one to make a line to slap that person.
I mean, like, I liken it to being like, you know, like it can be like Atlanta's one of the most diverse cities in the world. So it's like, and I'm an American, I can do whatever I want.
Exactly. And I mean, I've been to Atlanta. Like, dude, just when you get to the airport, like, yeah, this is diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our third biggest language that people speak in Georgia is Korean, and then it's the oceanic the oceanic tongues, with like the Filipino and the Malay, and so it is a lot more diverse than people realize.
Yeah, exactly.
Last time I was in Atlanta, I was staying with a friend, and within like an hour of us getting to his apartment in Atlanta, it looked like a relatively nice-ish area, but within an hour, this is when it's like 2012. Like within an hour of being there, we're just waiting to catch a Godzilla movie, and his truck gets broken into. So I was like,
I can probably guess which part of LA you were.
So we got Ichthys popping in here real quick. Beautiful looking comic, he says. Throwing in also.
I paid very nice money for it.
And we definitely want to talk about your team here, but he also says you just need some more paint. There you go. What do you think?
Exactly.
Want some more paint?
Do that. I do have some Scottish heritage too, so.
All right.
Ooh,
nice. Give it a freedom.
Yeah, freedom.
Have you thought of? I mean, you have a YouTube channel. I have that linked in our description. Have you ever thought of just sort of doing like videos about whatever shenanigans are going on, sort of culture war rants?
Honestly, I feel like a lot of my friends who do that do a better job than I do, or I could. So,
That's
and that's part of it. My friend, like I said, John does a really good job with that. Society Reviews does a really good job with that. My friend Orange Hat is doing more of that and keeping tabs on different things. And so I don't feel like I would actually add much to the conversation in terms of.
But it depends. Like, we have to find our niche. For example, like I've been doing this show with Ginge for like over a year, but now
2
I'm
years,
starting
actually.
2 years, and now I'm starting an animation school just because I can.
Yeah.
So,
My son is looking forward to that, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. So we got the first videos already in the channel. If it's interested, like it's just like explaining like the interface, like of the software I'm using, and the first exercise. But we're not here for that. But what I mean to say is that, dude, just find something that you're passionate about and make a channel about it. It doesn't have to be comics. It could be like about writing, but just something that will give you a profile and just build up your. Yeah, it's been 2 years, huh?
Yeah, man.
Jeez. And
I'll
just
keep
build
it
up
in
your
the
audience
back
from
of my
there.
mind. I will say, like, I enjoy being a writer, but I'm still a mom first, you know.
Okay.
So,
Right. There you go.
we're homeschooling my kids this year, and I'm kind of excited about that. So,
Yeah.
Sweet. Very nice.
you know, and it's nice. I like being the trophy wife. So
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, the world needs more of that, man.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
As long
I
as you're
totally
living a
agree.
happy life and doing right by your family, that's
Mhm.
what more can you
Yeah,
ask for.
dude.
We got
Yeah.
RJ William, if I can, real quick. I'm unfamiliar with
RJ.
RJ. Okay, is he
Yeah,
a
what's up, RJ?
peers?
Yeah.
Hey, RJ. Thanks
What's
for
up,
coming on,
RJ?
buddy. And Pedro, Mr. Ichthus here, says he's interested.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I'm gonna put the first 5 exercises up. I'm working on exercise. I have the animation done for the first 5 exercises, but I'm doing like the narration. And since I speak coconut English, it's taking longer because I want to be as clear as possible. But the next chapter is going up tonight, and once I get the first one, then I'm gonna start with the live streaming. Oh yeah.
Hey, man, who cut your hair? I believe her name was Michelle down at Supercuts on
Oh,
23rd
you went to
Street.
Supercuts.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tipped her a
I think
$5.
I think he's missing a comma there. Like, who cut your hair? Mom? Did your mom cut your hair? 'Cause-
I almost had her do it just out of pure
Yeah.
laziness. Like,
yeah.
they live like 15 minutes away. I had to drive like 25 minutes to get to Supercuts, but
You know, like my husband does my son's, and he did it himself this time, and we were so proud of him.
your son
So,
did.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
very cool.
Yep. It was one of those rite of passage moments.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. How old's your son?
I don't talk about my kids specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
but
Very
yep,
clever.
it's okay.
Keep that info away from the internet. That's very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that they have to worry about me being uber famous or anything.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
you know, it's a concern.
Yeah. And the things like this space is so dangerous for kids. You know what I mean? Like, they just have access to everything. So
Yeah,
the longer it
I
takes for
will
them
say
to-
writing a comic about human trafficking doesn't make me eager to talk about my kids in a real person.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So,
So, dude, I see your artist is having fun because I can see like Keanu Reeves there. That is, you know, yeah, you have a really nice team, man. Like I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, the team at Light Comic is really great. They have some really talented people, and they do juggle a lot of projects and stuff. So, and you know, they don't mind me, you know, giving out their info if anybody's interested. They.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I will say too, like I really love their work. They have experience with manga as well, which is part of the reason I like it so much. I think it's because it's got the kind of playfulness, like you said, and the seriousness at the same time. And that's kind of the tone that I wanted anyway. I mean, Atlanta is a very lively city, you know, and sorry.
That's all right. No worries.
And it can be very I mean, it is very diverse, but it's also like there's a lot of darkness and a lot of things that lighten it up. And I really wanted, like I said, a superhero that would kind of match that.
Yeah.
So,
Very nice.
This is like, I think the darkness is needed because without darkness, there's no antagonist. Like, where's the adventure? Like, if everybody's good and everybody's light, like, yeah, I'm a little bit better than you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna slap you now. Like, it makes no sense. Like, you need the darkness, and so.
Well, the contrast is something that you can really tell a lot about a person or about a story through the contrasts, and that's why like foils in literature are so profound. Like even in Romeo and Juliet, you have the Capulets and the Montagues, and they're really just kind of the same. But then you see like Mercutio through it is this like kind of like hot-headed sort of person, while Romeo's got his head in the clouds. It really brings out that characterization through and I mean, even in real life, you know who you are by what you are and what you are not. So,
I remember I played
some knowledge bombs on us.
Yeah, I played Benvolio in a play once. I didn't enjoy it. I had to wear tights. That's the only thing. Like, I'm Romeo and Juliet. I have to wear tights.
I will say one of the things that I'm going to try to work in is the Shakespeare Tavern down in Atlanta. So I've been a couple times, and I really like going there.
Very cool. I haven't heard of it. Is it like a murder mystery type thing? Are they doing Shakespeare while you eat? Or?
They do Shakespeare plays, but they do other like they did the Christmas Carol recently.
Nice.
They do some what George Eliot plays. They do some other ones.
Crucible.
Crucible.
Things like that. Yeah, Death of a Salesman.
Nice.
They've done. They usually work on Shakespeare. At least I know they do at least 3 or 4 Shakespeare shows every year, though, and it's all kind of like volunteer and
that's a lot of work. Wow.
So.
5 Shakespeare plays a year. That's a lot of work.
I think it's 3 or 4 of them, but I mean they changed the cast and everything. The last one I went to go see was The Merchant of Venice.
Oh, nice.
So, I like that one because you always need a good lawyer on hand, and that's kind of my take on that.
That's funny. Okay, so let's chat about Dizchord, but we mostly get artists on here. So as a writer myself, we'll want to be sort of shunning Pedro a little bit and sort of talking a little bit more about the writery side. But so tell me about your team though, Light Comic Studio. Did you find them online, or how does one get?
Yeah, they have a portfolio online. You can kind of look at their work. I've had a few people give different references, and since I became more active on Twitter, I will say like the easiest way to find artists is to hire somebody and then start showing people the artwork that you get, because you get a lot of people that kind of come out of the woodwork and be like, oh, I like this, I draw this stuff, you see a lot more of the I've seen a lot of commissions open and closed on the Twitter bios and everything, but for the most part everybody's been very nice. So and like I said, they have an online portfolio. I could get that link to you if you want to put it in the bottom later.
Yeah, do it.
How far into the artwork is the project? How long ago did you guys get started? Just sort of the general shenanigans.
It took me a while to write the script. This was the first time that I've had to adapt my work directly into pictures. I've done like graphic novels where you kind of just follow the book and match it, but I've never made a script. Like there's no book attached to this. I will get a light novel out for it because I have to say I one of the nice things about being a trophy writer is that you get to do whatever you want on some level. And
nice.
But my friend Leo, he's my narrator for some of my other work, and I told him before, I said I'm gonna write a superhero for you, and so yeah, I'm just gonna get the book out so he can read it for me. He sounds like a young Morgan Freeman, so I mean it's well worth it.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, better hang on to that guy. That's $1 million voice.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He does voice acting and stuff.
Yeah. I'll send you his info too.
Yes, I need that.
Yeah, he'd be great for your animation stuff.
Yeah.
So
You don't need. I want to do like a narration of my day, and with Morgan Freeman's day. And Pedro woke up. He had some coffee.
He's the guy for you then. Yes,
Yeah, awesome.
He's definitely
dude.
the guy for you.
Yeah.
So no, I will say, like, I recently submitted my he did the voice narration for my it was for like a little bedtime story that I have in my one series book.
Okay.
And he's in the top running for the yearly award for this company. And
Very
I mean, it's, like I said, it's very well earned. So
Rock and roll. Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of sort of videos, and we were sort of in that neck of the woods, so I'm just going to take the segue. I'm going to go ahead and hit your trailer here.
Yeah.
I'll just sit here and cringe. I think the last time we talked, I told Pedro that I did the movie myself.
Yeah.
This is why I'm going to keep you in my list of contacts. I need more.
Yeah.
I see what you're trying to do, though. I mean, as far as like conceptually, very, very groovy background, chill beat. Very nice. And the signature. There we go.
Yeah, like, I like what you were trying to do with the art direction, but it was just like getting a little bit more of the story involved into the video. That would have helped a lot. And with with a Morgan Freeman narration, chef's kiss.
Yeah, that's what I should have done.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, could we sort of talk a little bit about the characters, specifically Dizchord? I'm sure he's got another name. Could you tell us about him?
Yeah, so this is Stephen Kibois, and he's
Creo. Nice.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, very nice.
Yep. So when I went to college, one of the first friends that me and my husband made was his name was Sam Kibois, so I stole his last name.
I do that as well. You got
it. No, I've messaged him like, hey, guess what I'm doing? And I like how like his whole name came together in some ways. It was one of those definite like kind of like destined to be things. But so Stephen is in Christian, history, he's the first martyr. And I had another friend named Stephen that I was like, hey, can I have your middle name? And he's like, no, just use my first name.
Oh, wow.
And then I had for his middle name is Elias, and down here in Atlanta, he's Eastern Orthodox. So if there's a particular branch of Christianity we want to go after, there's a St. Elias church down here that I went to, and I did some of my research there. So again, I'm trying to keep it very specific to Atlanta. I feel like New York has too many superheroes.
Yeah,
that's smart though. Like specifically, yeah.
Well, like one of the things that I really do believe, and I think people forget in the age of the internet, is if you want to change the world, go home and you love your family. And
yeah, exactly.
My family's here. This is like, if I'm going to write a good character, that's not just some kind of lazy reboot or sequel or passing of the torch, or torching of the past, maybe.
Yeah.
I want it to be somebody that can make a difference in my home, and so here we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
a little puff pass of the torch. Even I wanted to make that joke.
Wow.
I had to wait.
Wow, Ginge.
Sorry,
No,
buddy, I couldn't let that one slide. Okay, so tell us about him though. How did Stephen get his powers? Is this issue 1 going to be sort of the origin story, or
yes.
could you give us a little bit without spoiling? Or
I don't think I could give too much without spoiling, but so Stephen's musical superpower is that he can hear the song of each soul inside of each individual. So like I really like this idea that like in the Bible, when God said let there be light, the Hebrew word for it for like said is actually better translated as sings. And if you think about how the Hebrews, I grew up with a lot of Jewish friends, so like when they do the bar mitzvah and the bar mitzvah, They kind of have they're much more rhythmic with the Hebrew than they are the English.
Interesting.
And so the idea that God sings in like light into existence and people into existence, I think it's really cool to think that just like I have a sequence for my DNA, my soul has like a a stanza of notes.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there's a similar concept within some Indian culture, not like Native American Indian, but like Indian. I think there's a song where it's like something about the sound of your soul or something like that. I think it's very interesting.
Oh yeah, well,
I
I mean, the
mean,
nice thing about being a Christian is that you can understand that in a fallen world that some
yeah,
people have some things right.
yeah. I mean, and I think Tolkien took a note on that too, on that Hebrew meaning. Because I mean, if you go to the Silmarillion, like the ballad, the Ainur sung the world into existence. It was a
Yeah.
song, so
Interesting.
I don't know. Like it's really like you're connecting with something like that's really deep here, but you're making it like digestible in the sense that it's not like
Yes.
this epic thing that like in the beginning there was a voice, nothing, just like Atlanta. Here we go, song. He can hear your soul. Behave, like dude, it's awesome. I
Yeah.
like it.
He gets this power after his dad's killed, and he goes to the funeral. I do talk about this in like issue number 2. I'm starting to work on it a little bit. Yep. So, and I like the idea that like your song and your song and my song could kind of resonate or clash. Like Discord in itself is this idea that there's light against dark and good versus evil, and he's trying to find his father's killer. Well, he's trying to uphold his father's legacy too. His dad was a cop, and he worked specifically with human trafficking, and he was killed by a human trafficker, and he's trying to find the guy who did it and going after all these things. And there is a 10-year gap. I call it a Cinderella gap. And during this time he learns how to not only listen to other people's souls, he figures it out, and he can manipulate it and he can do other things with it. So
All right, very cool.
there's actually a really big reveal at the end of the book too with it. So
All right.
And when you think about it, this power is terrifying.
yes, it
like,
is, isn't it?
Yeah, like he can hear your song, but can he like make little changes to your song and like relieve memories or implant things that are not there? It's just like, dude, this guy can meddle, like basically mess you up really bad. And then you curl up in a ball.
That's pretty much what happens to if you go down to like the 3rd or 4th page, I think that's what he's doing to the lady. So instead of like fighting with her, he uses his power on her to where she's rendered paralyzed and incapable.
Oh my god, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, that is actually kind of terrifying. Somebody being able to, it's like what crazy people say to you in like weird situations. I could see your soul. It's like, I've had crazy like homeless type dudes say similar things to me, and I'm like,
oh well,
this guy, he can really see it.
Yeah. I will say too, so since it has been 10 years since his father's passing and everything, and he's been very disciplined, and there's a couple other big reveals that I can't talk about, but it's really cool how it all comes together, basically. So,
yeah, you're definitely playing with a lot of interesting things, really.
I like to play with a lot of interesting things.
But it seems to be woven together really nicely in a very deep and interesting way. I want to know a lot more about I'm a big history guy, and just falling down rabbit holes, and especially religion. It's always been something I've been interested in as well. So
yeah,
would you categorize this as a Christian comic? What are your thoughts on that? Like,
Steven is a Christian. I don't think this counts as being a Christian comic just because there's no altar call. So
okay,
I do think that the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition, they're one of the few African countries that are not the only one that's never ever supported, like, had state sponsored slavery. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church began with the freeing of 2 of their first leaders. And they were black slaves that came down from like the Egypt, area, and they were set free by the king, and they converted the king, and they had this, and so it is entrenched in this idea that you have the option to embrace freedom, but you also have the responsibility of maintaining freedom. And that comes with sacrifice and duty, and it's a very fatherly kind of lesson in the book.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with that, and it's interesting that you sort of took that approach. I mean, for me, growing up, I sort of grew up in church. The rule was if you stayed the night at Granny's house, you're going to church on Sundays, and I stayed the night at my grandma's house a lot. But it just didn't click with me growing up. Like I would just, people would do the bow their heads and pray thing. I would be just not feeling anything about it. But fast forward to like, not to make this a sort of any type show, but I'll say like Jordan Peterson, and when he first hit the scene a couple of years ago, I will definitely credit him for sort of opening my eyes, to like a Christian sympathizer almost. Like he definitely helped me see a lot of the actual value within the ideas presented.
I will speak to that, and I will say our culture has become very secularized in the sense that they don't really like God a whole lot. So explaining why God is good, even if you don't believe in him or you don't want to believe in him, has become rather difficult sometimes. And then you've got people like me who, you just want to punch their face in anyway. So.
Yeah.
I think you need some more pain.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I've never had a problem with God per se. Like I can't say that. Just I don't know. Like the things that here, like Catholicism is very ingrained even within the government. So they do stuff that's not cool. So that's why I don't really go to church. But I have nothing against God, and I have nothing against people who believe. I try to believe in my own way. I try to read the Bible, but it's not like you're never gonna see me there, unless somebody dies or somebody gets married.
As long as you're not the one that's offing them, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, because the thing is, like in funerals and weddings, there's food afterwards. So
there you go, buddy.
Yeah. And I will say too, I have Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life book, and
nice.
So I've read it, and I agree with a lot of what he says for what it's worth too.
Yeah, very nice. Yes. Okay. So, tell us about the villain. Is there not specifically the guy that killed Steven's father, but do you have like an overarching series villain? Or I know I'm probably asking way ahead here.
No, it's okay. I will say it's kind of like a bit of a I wouldn't want to say it's like a spy thriller in that respect, but it's there are bigger fish that are feeding, I mean, I did take a kind of an honest look at human trafficking for what it's worth, and it's I tried to keep it clean too, because my kids do pick up my books, they do read my work, they haven't understood anything yet. I think because I do write for I usually try to aim for about 15-year-olds when I write, because I think at that point you think you're an adult anyway, right?
Right.
And that's usually the age where it's before you drive, so you still understand what it's like to be a child, but you also are like, I'm gonna be this person when I grow up next year. And then 30 years later, there you are.
No one understands me, and that whole thing. The 15 are delicious.
Yeah, but so I will say, if I die before I finish this comic run, I'll know why. So
Alrighty.
I'm satirizing the wrong people.
Yeah.
She is not suicidal, anybody. We're getting this on the show right now.
Yes, CJ did not kill herself.
Yeah. She's not going on her own accord. Okay?
Pop into the chat real quick here. I think you brought the thunder with you, CJ. I'm seeing a new face here, Mr. Roland Mann.
Roland Mann.
I don't know if this is one of your doors, sir. Hey, Roland, thanks for coming by, bud. We got Neo Star. Hey, man. He says, "Don't worry, Pedro. You can honor your religion without being subservient to the state."
Yeah, dude. It's just
That is one thing that like if people were to ask me specifically what I believe, I would say part of the reason I don't hold Catholic belief is because of their history of abuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible and
It's
well
hard to-
documented.
Well, I mean, even the Pope history kind of makes me laugh because, of all the popes that they like basically bought the papacy and stuff, and all the children out of. I mean, I read like a really good drama for what it's worth. So,
right. The Borgias or whatever, right? They did a couple series on those guys.
And for what it's worth too, I love American history, and I think that's another thing is like American history tends to be more focused on the individual rather than the collective.
Exactly.
And there is a lot of there's a long history of Americans bucking against the institutions.
Interesting, very interesting. Yes. So let me ask you real quick, just because it was a major theme of the book, and we're getting close on time here, and maybe without getting too into the gory details or what have you, but what did your findings of your study of human trafficking, did you discover? Do you have any, Epstein leads? Do we have anything we can sort of chew on here?
We want to stay alive, Ginge.
Let's put it like this. Like, so in there's a large portion of the Alex Jones's right quarters that belong there in that big house.
Oh, yes. It's always a fun meme to see it come to life. Oh, there he was again, right again.
Well, the people who I think there's a large portion of the rhetoric that needs to be gone away with too. Like I mean, like the one of the things when I was a teacher working in Atlanta directly with 49 plus nationalities is there was a rise in tuberculosis, and it's like if like tuberculosis is not fun.
No, it's not.
Just because you have insurance doesn't mean that you want to get tuberculosis to get your money's worth, And part of the reason that there was such a jump in it when I was teaching is because we had an influx. This was during the it was about the Obama presidency years and stuff. And as a teacher, I was told specifically, if they're here illegally, you're not allowed to report them. And some of them, left gang symbols on my door. And I mean, like I was told by some of them, hey, we like you. So you don't have to worry. And I had a student offer to sell me drugs at a cheap price.
Oh, nice.
That's the hookup though. Come on.
Yeah. And I've had a lot, I've had a lot of great kids, and I mean, even that kid that offered me the drugs, I'd probably be like, hey, how you doing, man?
You got that cool teacher discount.
Yeah. Well, you were in a good spot almost by being dubbed the cool teacher. I mean, that's like, that is some like protection racket type stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like for what it's worth, I had a few kids that were just, it was really tragic, and I had to witness that firsthand. And a lot of the other ones too that were like graduating, they're like, yeah, we're just going to go back to Mexico now because we get the education here for K through 12, and then we go over there and we get it for free there for the college. I'm like, oh, okay. I've known Americans who have gone to Germany for the same thing, so I can't really complain about that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, I'm glad you think that my education that I'm giving you is worth the free price. Yeah. Yeah, I used to be a teacher, so I used to be, and that's the other reason I hide my face, I think. So
no, I mean, it's a crazy world out there for sure, and it just seems to be getting more and more crazier.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot. My big problem with it too is like I taught English and rhetoric, and like logical fallacies bother me.
Okay.
And like I taught Orwell. Doublethink bothers me, and I understand like paradoxes are not the same things as contradictions. Okay, like I believe in stuff that is kind of borderline insane to some people. Anyway, I've been talking about my faith all night, but like this idea that there are some things that are just kind of up in the air that shouldn't be. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. So.
Right.
The subjectiveness of it all, that bothers me too.
Very interesting. You guys had a rhetoric class, like something actually substantial in your English, department.
Well, like people think the South is uneducated for some reason. I think I just tell them, yeah, we're all racist and dumb here. Stay away. So
People do think that, in my experience, there's been some degree of a little bit of everything as far as, the more unfavorable elements of human nature. But really, the sort of Southern hospitality thing has rung true in my part of Florida.
yeah. Oh, and I mean, and that's like one of the things I tell my kids is like, if you're good, you kind of have to really be vigilant with your freedom. Like we talk about freedom with Iron Age stuff, and it's like the only way that you can keep your freedom is to make choices that will keep you free. So it's a paradox in itself where you cannot have ultimate freedom, because if you choose, even if you're free to choose drugs, for example, those drugs will make you unfree.
Yeah, exactly.
You're forced to choose them again and again and again. And so you have and that's something I actually really thought about for my my Order of the Crystal Dagger series, which is a spy thriller series set in 1890s or 1870s Prague. So we'll talk about really nitty-gritty details,
Yes. No, we got to have you back on for the history episode.
Yeah.
We'll do a history episode.
I'm constantly surprised by the fact that people say, "Oh, come back on and join us." So I would love that.
Yeah,
all right,
it's awesome.
Yeah, no, we're coming up on the end of the episode, but that is sort of the problem with hour-long shows, is it's difficult to really dive into anything.
And once we hit the stride, we're almost done.
Yeah, but we do have a couple comments here. Neostar says, "Man, there are a lot of teachers among the indie scene. You're like the 5th teacher that was an indie career."
And what does that tell you, though? You know what I mean? Like the fact that a lot of people have this knowledge to give, and they don't have the environment to do it, so they get out of the system that's supposed to be the environment to teach, and come to the indie scene when they can do it freely. That's the thing. Information shouldn't be restricted to a policy, shouldn't be restricted to an ideology. And dude, like, I don't know, like, you guys in America are so lucky, because I live in Latin America. I know what it is to follow the drumbeat of an ideology. And it's horrible. Like, in order to be a free thinker, like, what helps me down here is that I speak English, and most of the people who can put me in jail don't. So they don't understand me. And
you're also known as the El Gigante de Panama.
Dude. I mean, I know I'm 6'4", whatever. Like, if a police car comes for me, they're taking me in, man. And that's the thing.
Like a clown car.
Yeah, dude. and that's the thing, man. Like, you guys, we all aspire to be like you are, and there's a section of America that's trying to destroy that. So, I'm not saying you guys should go to war. I'm not condoning violence, but it should be defended, man.
I think it would be helpful if the terms of war were better spelled out.
Exactly.
There's that sort of founding file. I don't know the quote exactly. CJ, you might better know, but something about the tree of liberty is watered with the blood of tyrants.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that one's been going around a lot, I think, lately.
Yeah.
I mean, it is an interesting sort of thing that they were aware of the fact that you do have to be vigilant for freedom, like it is
for the record.
And like I said, the big thing with the freedom aspect of it for me is that a lot of these kids are given choices like, here's porn or drugs. Which one do you want?
Yeah, exactly. Awesome choices. Yeah.
Yeah. So
destruction. Would you like destruction A or destruction B? Make your pick.
Yeah. And I will say too, like, even free thinkers can kind of go off on the deep end too if you're not careful. So,
of course,
like,
Sam Harris, I used to be a fan of him many moons ago,
but what I see a lot today is skepticism that doesn't want to grow into certainty. Like, the point of being skeptical is not to stay a skeptic. It is to investigate your concerns and your doubts with sincere and honest efforts, and to arrive at a conclusion that will give you at least momentary peace. I see a lot of people are like, well, I just question everything. Yeah. And then I go around and I'm like, well, why do you do that?
I question, but if you mix skepticism with nihilism and then nothing matters, then you're not convinced by anything and everything is a joke. So why are you alive? It's just like, it's very gloomy and dark.
Yes.
It can be, yeah. And I think one of the things that like I have been there. I have been clinically depressed 4 times now.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things I like about myself is that I'm a survivor. Like I can help people work through a lot of that. And a lot of the times what I see is people are doing things that they're almost like a front for the real thing that they're after. So, and I don't know if anybody will get it. I mean, like I love the musical superpowers. I love that it's like central to my home in Atlanta. But I still, at the heart of it, I really want to give people hope that, their loved ones are never really gone, not in the Star Wars sense, but like that you can kind of carry the remnants of their song in your song, and that you get to revisit that until you can see them again, and that you have other people that will help carry that melody and that legacy forward. And that's that's at least a stepping stone out of nihilism.
And for the record, that sounds better than a Force Ghost. Because if I get a Force Ghost in my room, I'll be terrified. But if it's a song, it's like, hey, nice, I remember that or whatever. I think that's better.
Well,
I'll just say this, Pedro. If you do strike me down, I will return more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
All right.
See you, William. Thanks for coming by, buddy. Thanks, RJ.
Yep. Bye.
So we are getting ready to wrap her up here as well.
So
go
good
ahead.
Stuff.
Yeah, CJ, I heard you. If you had something.
I will say, like, I like that I'm a mom too, because like a lot of people everybody needs a mother, like even Jesus needed a mom. So I try to be a really good mom.
I like that. That is actually an interesting note. Even Jesus needed a mother.
Yeah, my other joke.
You can put that on a bumper sticker.
Yeah. Well, my other joke is even God didn't want to be a woman and deal with PMS. So
zinged them. No. Let's finish up the chats real quick, guys. We got some interesting stuff here. Roland says, man, I missed the faith talk. We'll have to go back and listen to that. Currently a teacher myself, by the way. Glad I caught this.
Well, good luck. I hope you have more fortitude than I did. So I quit. I will say I quit mostly because I was pregnant and I was working in a school system where the last sub that I talked to, her friend who also subbed lost an eye because this girl punched her out with threw a book at her, and I was like sitting there and I'm like, I'm 7 weeks pregnant. Why are you telling me this?
Okay.
Yeah, school is an absolute jungle. It was ridiculous when I was in. I'm sure it's only worse.
It sounds almost like being a cowboy. Like, go out on the range. Some of you might come back. Some of you might not.
Yeah. Well.
So we got Neostar popping in here. He says, speaking as a guy from Illinois, there are a lot of snobbish, undeserved egos haunting my area. I like that. Okay. He also says, yikes. I remember Felipe telling me a similar thing a while back, Pedro. A free mind is a precious commodity that must be cherished, referring to Latin America.
I will say, Pedro, if they do arrest you, I will set up a give send go for your bail.
Oh, nice. That would be awesome. Yeah.
All right, we got to free my boy so he can get back to drawing comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you've got my son's animation class to work on.
Yeah, got that too.
Hey, good stuff. Hey, buddy. Thanks for popping by.
Stuff. Yeah.
Very good. Neostar says, oh, God, I can't really get behind nihilism. It feels like a very complacent and arrogant philosophy. I think it is very arrogant. I remember when the skepticism, atheist boom of like the first YouTube took off, that definitely, I was like probably 14 at the time. And I remember that really like permeated basically my whole generation and helped them think they were way smarter than everybody around them. And it was just sort of the beginnings of that.
Oh, see, I already loved dystopian novels by that time, so I was like, dude, this is like a psyop.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
I don't think it helps my credibility in the meme run.
Let's see. Okay, I think that's about it here. He says, Roland says, oh yeah, I'm at the university level. I couldn't do K through 12. I'm sure that's still a goddamn challenges.
I will say I taught college for a while. I really liked teaching college, so I taught all like composition 1 and research and stuff like that. It was very fun. But I had a lot of older students, and it was just weird. It was better in some ways because like they would be like, hey, I'm going out for a smoke and I might not be back. And I'd be like, okay. See ya.
Right.
Homework's
I
due
mean,
next week.
I used to teach animation at college level up until 2019, but I mean, ever since the pandemic, I only see college at the YouTube level, and I don't want to go back. Just, dude, those kids are nuts.
Oh yeah.
I do think like you do reach a certain point of adulthood, and even
Yeah.
like you're like, I don't want to go back to that. So.
No. I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this biatch into the station here, gang. What do
Oh.
you say?
Choo.
All right, no. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop the
Oh,
Kickstarter link here for Dizchord,
do it.
Atlanta's
Yes.
Guardian Angel of Music,
Mhm.
of course.
Yes.
Very interesting spin on that, and I'm excited to see how you know, we didn't really talk into
I've
that.
been my daughter, Phobos, at Color Phobos, she's been watching The Sound of Music a lot lately. So I was like, we're so close to Phantom.
Very nice.
Nice.
Okay, so you've got a YouTube channel. We've got all your links in the description.
Oh yes.
Is
so
there...
come follow me on Twitter. Come follow me on YouTube. I'm posting up a lot of my audiobooks right now, so you can listen to them for free. If you click on the ads, it helps me get some more pennies.
Very nice.
You know, I'm a mom and I'm a trophy wife. I'm taken care of. So
Nice.
if there's anything I could do to help people, I generally try. So
All right.
Cool.
I don't know,
Very
if
nice.
it's you, but you know,
A very nice lady and a great guest, and
an awesome looking book, man.
Yeah. Can't wait to have you back on whenever you're ready. Honestly, just hit us up. Okay,
well.
CJ.
Yep. I will say, like, I'm usually on the Barroom podcast, although I usually turn my avatar off.
Okay.
And it's coming up at 9 if anybody wants to hop on over. So.
Oh, cool.
Very fun. The Barroom podcast.
I actually would totally agree with that. So I the best thing about being a writer, like, so instead of going to a trade school, I really enjoy being a writer because I can learn about anything, and even if I don't do anything with it, it's like, hey, I can put this in a book somewhere.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yes, if you're a research bug, which I am as well, I grew up just falling down Wikipedia rabbit holes. It wasn't until I started writing that I was like, oh, this is being just liking to learn shit and just researching is a useful skill for a writer. It's kind of part of the job in some ways. Okay, so CJ, I'm gonna bump you to the back, and we're gonna.
Thank you for having me on. I like talking with you guys.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great talking with you as well. Thanks for coming by. Sorry about that.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Oh,
Okay, buddy. I know. Filth. Okay, so good show, my friend.
Yeah, it was
Very
awesome.
interesting.
Nice haircut. Just
Thanks, pal. Super
I have to
cuts.
say that again. Yeah, super cuts.
231.
231. It worth every penny.
Shout out to I believe her name was Michelle. Nice lady.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yep. Thank you everybody for watching NeoStar. Always good to see you, buddy. Pops dropping the links. Thank you, man. Roland, thanks for coming by, bud. Nice to meet you. I hope you stay safe out there in the wild.
Education
yonder, but,
education planes.
Whatever color that. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ichthus, thanks for coming by, bud. RJ, I know you were here and gone, but I miss you already.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. All right, Pedro, the Animation Kitchen. That's popping off.
Yes, sir. It's popping up. The classes are going up. I'm going to start streaming soon. I just want to have enough classes so we can have topics to discuss during the live streams. So during this week and next week, I'm going to be popping a few more classes right now. We have like the interface video. You can go check it out at the Pedro Ang channel. We have the bouncing ball. I'm uploading the bowling ball tonight. And then we're going to have the leaf exercise, the flower size exercise, and the dive. And then we're going to start streaming to go like over the exercises, and so people can pick up like animation. It's all going to be rough animation, but we're going to cover cleanup animation, how to draw through the form, how to draw through for animation, all that good stuff. So yeah.
You mentioned a couple different types of balls there, so I got to make
sure
it's
a ballsy show.
Balls.
It's a ballsy show, sir. It's a ballsy show.
It is a ballsy show.
Yeah.
I like that. Better than my joke. All right, let's get the hell out of here, buddy.
Yeah, that's
okay. We got Edwin Acevedo next week. Very talented artist, writer, creator. All right, boom. Catch y'all next week.